Welcome to ANS Solver question 4 of this paper. So for part A1, they are asking us to calculate the external curved surface area of the cylinder. So the formula for this is 2 pi RH. So let's substitute the values that we know. So 2 pi multiplied by R, which is 8 meters, and H, which is 19 meters. So therefore 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by 8 multiplied by 19 will be equal to 955.04416. Therefore 955 meters square will be your final answer for part A1, because the fourth significant figure in this case, which is 0, is lesser than or equal to 5, so it will not round off the third significant figure to the next number. Now let's move to part A2, where they are asking us to calculate the cost of the painting, and they are telling us that it costs 0.85 per meter square. So all we need to do is multiply this cost by the number of square meters. So 955 multiplied by 0.85. So 955 multiplied by 0.85 is equal to $811.75. And since you need to give answer in three significant figures, your final answer would be $812 or $812, because the fourth significant figure, which is 7, is greater than or equal to 5, so it will round off the third significant figure to the next number. Therefore $812 will be your final answer for part A2. Now let's move to part B1, where they are asking us to find the value of H and to show that it equals to 13.5. Now since they are telling us that they melt a solid metal spheres and they make a solid cone out of that sphere, so the two volumes would be the same. So let's equate the volumes, and they are giving us both the formula. So volume of a sphere is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. They are giving us the radius of the sphere, which is 6 centimeters, so 6 cube, which is equal to the volume of the cone, which is 1 by 3 pi r square h. So r, as they've given us, as 8, so 8 square, and we need to find h, so h will remain as it is. Now we can cancel the 3 and the 3, because if we take either 3 to the other side of the equation, it will become multiplication. So 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1, so we can cancel it out. Now 6 cube is equal to 216, multiplied by 4 is equal to 864, and 864 multiplied by pi is 864 pi, which is equal to 8 square, which is 64, multiplied, so it will be 64 multiplied by pi multiplied by h, so it will be equal to 64 pi h. Now we can cancel the two pi's, because again, if you move either one to the other side of the equation, it will become division, so pi divided by pi will be equal to 1. Therefore h will be equal to 864 divided by 64, which is equal to 13.5 centimeters, and therefore this will be your final answer for part B1 of this question. Now let's move to part B2, where they are asking us to calculate the slant height of the cone. So in a cone, we know that the height is like this, the radius is like this, that is the base, and the slant height would be this. So it forms a right angle triangle, and we know the radius, which is 8 centimeters, and we know the height now, which is 13.5 centimeters. So now to find the slant height, let's label it as L for now. So to find the slant height, we use the formula of the Pythagoras theorem. So 8 square plus 13.5 square will be equal to, so 8 square, which is 64, plus 13.5 square will be equal to 246.25. Therefore the slant height will be equal to the root of this number, so therefore your final answer would be 15.69235, and therefore your final answer would be 15.7, because the fourth significant figure, which is 9, is greater than or equal to 5, so it rounds off the 6 to the next number. Therefore 15.7 centimeters will be your final answer for part B2. Now let's move to part B3, where they are asking us to calculate the curved surface area, and they've given us the formula. So let's use that formula, which is pi RL. So R in this case, which is 8, and we found L as 15.7. So for calculation purposes, you should use the whole number, that is 15.69235, because you won't face the premature rounding error then. So 15.69235 multiplied by 8 multiplied by pi is equal to 394.3918, and therefore, since we have to give our answer in 3 significant figures, your final answer will be 394 centimeters square. 394. This is because the fourth significant figure, which is 3 in this case, is lesser than or equal to 5. Therefore, it doesn't round off the third significant figure to the next number. Now let's move to part C of this question. So for part C, they are asking us to calculate the volume of the larger cone. They've given us the surface area of the two, that is the larger cone and the smaller cone, and they've given us the volume of the smaller cone. So to solving such questions, you should use the formula of dividing the area with the area itself. So that is the area of the smaller cone divided by the larger cone, or vice versa, and equal to the volume divided by the volume. So the volume of the larger divided by the volume of the smaller, or vice versa. But you should keep one thing the same, that is either the smaller shapes volume and area goes in the numerator, or both of them go in the denominator. So that has to be the same. So the surface area of the smaller cone, which is 80 centimeters square, divided by the surface area of the larger cone, which is 180 centimeters square, which is equal to the volume of the smaller cone, because we are keeping the smaller cone in the numerator. So the volume of the smaller cone, which is 168 centimeter cube, divided by the volume of the larger cube that we need to find. Now, the unit of surface area would be centimeter square, and the unit of volume would be centimeter cube. So to bring them to the same unit, we would raise the surface area with the indice of 3 by 2, because centimeter square, so square raised to 3 by 2. Now if we use the indice rules, that is x raised to n raised to m, it will be equal to x raised to nm, which means we multiply it. So if we multiply 2 multiplied by 3 by 2, we'll be left with 3, so cube basically. So that would be the same unit as your volume. So therefore we raise it with the fraction of 3 by 2. So now let's input this in your calculator. 80 divided by 180, the whole thing raised to 3 by 2, which is 1.5, which is 8 by 27, which is equal to 168 divided by x. Now we can take the numerator to the other side, that is 160 to the other side of the equation. So it will become 168 divided by 8 by 27. So therefore your final answer would be 567 centimeter cube, which will be the volume of the bigger cone. Now let's move to part D of this question. So for part D, they are asking us to calculate the angle between PB and the base, that is ABCD. Now there is a right angle triangle in this pyramid. So I'll just draw it separately and label it so you know which triangle I'm talking about. So that is PXB. Now XB is would be half of the value of DB, because X is the midpoint So therefore xb would be 4 centimeters, and they are telling us that px, which is the height, is 5 centimeters. So we know two sides of the triangle and we need to find an angle inside a right angle triangle. So we can use the trigonometric functions. In this case we can use the tan function. So therefore tan x is equal to the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. So the opposite side in this case, which is 5 centimeters, so 5 divided by the adjacent side, which is 4. Therefore x would be equal to so whenever you take a function to the other side of the equation, it becomes the inverse of the function. So therefore tan inverse of 5 by 4, and therefore you will get your final answer as 51.34019. And since you need to give your answer in 3 significant figures, your final answer would be 51.3 degrees, because the fourth significant figure in this case, which is 4, is lesser than equal to 5, so it won't round off the third significant figure to the next number. Therefore 51.3 degrees will be your final answer for part D of this question.